Argentina versus Wales. This was the probably the game that I look forward to the most. This is two Tier 1 nations playing in Cardiff. Argentina, let's go back a little bit. Argentina last week played Romania, who failed to qualify for Rugby World Cup in 2019 because of a player who apparently played for Tonga in the sevens, played for them to reach the qualifying to qualify, and then they had the points stripped, so they didn't actually make it to the Rugby World Cup because of the point strip. So we haven't seen Romania for a while. So Argentina played Romania last week with pretty much the same team they're playing Wales today, which is also pretty much their full-strength team. Argentina really struggled last week. Sanchez kicking wasn't on point, and Argentina almost lost last week against Romania. And this week, Argentina, again, pretty much pitched a full-strength team in Cardiff against Wales B's team. As you know, the Lions Tour is happening, and all the good players in Wales are in the Lions Tour. And this was, I would say, this was, I don't know, like, I expected Argentina to kind of blow Wales out, but Wales actually put up a really, really good fight in this game. And there was a bit of WTF moment in this game. So the referee, for about a period of about 15 minutes, was just like, what the hell is happening? So there was one point where the scrums weren't very steady, and the referee just yellow carded both props from the tight head prop from Wales and the loose head prop from Argentina. Two props got yellow carded, and then the reserves came on to steady up the scrum. So the referee was in no way interested in resetting the scrum too many times. So both teams got a yellow card, and then the referee issued a red card. Okay, so for a head collision against Argentina. So Argentina had to play from about the 30 minutes onwards in the first half. So Argentina had to play most of the game with one player in the bin. So this is not they didn't adopt the rule where you get a 20-minute red card. This was full-on red card, and Argentina had to play with 14 players for most of the game. So again, we have never seen accidental head collisions being penalized or being carded until Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, where the precedent was set, where it was Chiefs against Waratahs. A head collision, it was basically like a hug tackle. Head collision happened in like a bad hug tackle, and the Chiefs player was yellow carded in that situation. And this game, the Argentine player got red carded for basically the identical infringement. Two players ran into each other, and the Argentinian player was going for like a bear hug tackle, so he couldn't offload. Head collision, red card. This is the precedent for a red card. Super Rugby AU said, Super Rugby Trans-Tasman said the yellow card precedent, and this is the red card. First time ever in the history. And there was a third WTF moment. So after that, the Argentina team seemed kind of like a little bit like upset about the red card. They thought it was a bit severe, especially the former captain Matias. He like literally like a minute later, he gets tackled. Like, it wasn't like that bad of a tackle. He goes in and it was a really low tackle. He kind of got lifted off the ground, but he was like a foot off the ground. It was a really low tackle. He was like a foot off the ground, but lifted off. He gets put down, and then he did a bit of acting, and then he was to try to milk like a penalty. So initially the referee didn't give a penalty. He was on the ground, and the referee's like, okay, let's look like a head injury here. Let's have a look what happened. And then, he milked it for all he could. And the referee estimated that the lifting of the player wasn't that much above the ground to be dangerous. It was only like a foot off the ground. So no yellow card, no red card. But Matias did his best acting, essentially. So quite a bit of WTF going on in this game. But ultimately, I think Argentina was probably should have won against the Wales B team, considering Argentina was full strength on the field and full strength in the coaching box with Michael Cheika. Hello, back in the coaching team for Argentina. Checks, what are you doing, mate? Stop collecting money from other teams. We need you back in Australia. Come on, Cheika. Anyway, so Argentina is completely back to full strength, both on the field and off the field. And I thought Argentina should have won despite the red card. Argentina played really, really well overall, but just still rough, just a bit rough around the edges. Kicking was off for both Sanchez and Miotti, and that ultimately really cost Argentina this win. They really needed to get the rust off themselves. This is not the Argentina team we saw against the All Blacks last year or against Australia, even though it is pretty much the same people. The players, despite having played more rugby over the year, actually seems to have gotten worse. Anyway, let's have a look at the stats. I've been just talking about too much. So the stats, 2 tries apiece. Argentina was on the defensive end the most of the game. 318 runs for Wales, 222. Argentina really having one player in the bin, played quite defensively, trying not to concede points. 17 defenders beaten for Wales. That is rather a lot, something that Argentina probably wanted to improve. Only 7 for Argentina. Like I said, they really didn't go on the offense too much. 4 clean breaks. 8 turnovers conceded for Wales. 9 for Argentina. Why is this considered a home game for Argentina? That is so weird. It's home game for Wales. Argentina, anyway, I'm not sure why Argentina is considered like home team, because the team on the left-hand side is usually the home team. But anyway, maybe it should be in Argentina. They changed the location. But anyway, let's keep going forward. 144 tackles, 17 missed tackles. That is actually pretty, that's actually okay. I think just below 90%. 87%, so that's pretty good for Argentina. They wanted to be above 90% for international games, but with one player in the bin, that is pretty decent, right? Wales, very good defense. 7 missed tackles out of 97, that is well above 90%, 93%, 94%. Really, really good effort for Wales in terms of their defense. Kicks in play, pretty similar. Conversions from tries, 2 out of 2. 2 out of 5 penalty for Argentina. Yeah. So Sanchez missed 2 from a very kickable range, around 40 out in a bit of an angle. And then Miotti missed 1 pretty much at the same spot as well when he came off the bench. So that needs to be improved for Argentina. Wales missed 2 themselves as well, so not exactly the best for either teams. Ruck's assist rate, 98, 93%, pretty similar. Lineouts lost. Argentina lost 1 of the lineouts. Not a big deal. 1 scrum was lost for Wales. A little bit of thing that the Wales can work on. Although, the Wales front rows are pretty much all in South Africa, basically. So this is Wales' second tier team. And 14 penalties conceded for Argentina to the 11 for Wales. Not too bad, but really, the red card is the one that is astonishing. And there was a yellow card given for, I think, repeated penalties. And that's the same thing for Wales as well. So, bit of a technical yellow cards. And what I'm talking about. The yellow cards are for the props collapsing the scrum. Both props got yellow carded from both teams. So, that's the yellow cards came from. But yeah. So, at one point, Argentina was playing rugby league with only 13 players on the field. Is it 13 players for rugby league, or is it 11? What am I talking about? No, 13. I'm pretty sure it's 13 player on rugby league. Anyway, I don't know. I've been watching soccer as well. Soccer is 11. Anyway, I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, let's go through some details of the game. So, first up, we have, first up, Argentina had a penalty right away around 5 minutes into the game. I think it was a scrum penalty. And it was a 5 minutes, 13 minutes into the game, so there was a lot of back and forth. Both teams would play very defensively at the start. Eventually, Argentina were able to get a penalty from a scrum around 13 minutes into the game, and Sanchez missed this one. Didn't look good from the start. 16 minutes into the game, so 16 minutes in the game, Argentina put a kick behind Wales, and the ball rolled and stopped inside the end zone. So Wales dot the ball down, gets a 22 dropout, right? So the number 10 Callum Sheedy gets the ball. He looked like he was going to do a big dropout, and he faked the big dropout. He just like tapped the ball over the line, and then he grabbed the ball, right? He recovered the ball. And then as soon as he recovers the ball, he sees he's about to get tackled. He throws the ball to Aaron Wainwright, the number 8, who gets the ball like, in a bit of a hurry. And then he gets smashed. And then he gets a bunch of Argentinian players just flood over him. Turns the ball over. Full-on penalty for holding on from that stupid 22 dropout. And second penalty for Argentina. This time in a very kickable range, just outside of their own 22. Right in the middle. And Sanchez converts this one. 3 points on the board for Argentina. And a few minutes later, 2 minutes later, Wales strikes back. Argentina gets penalized for offside, just off, pretty much right off the kickoff, about a few phases in. A minute later, 2 minutes later, Wales gets an opportunity at 3 points. Wales kick the 3 points all, okay? And then from the 16th minute to about 25th minute, the Argentinian team gave away a lot of silly penalties, like obstructions from their own high balls, offsides, like just silly penalties, like left and right, just very, very ordinary. And Wales were able to piggyback these penalties and just really able to build a bit of momentum for themselves against Argentina. At the 26th minute, eventually one of the penalties was given away inside Argentina half for offside. Referee was warning Argentina. Wales is like, yep, right in front of the goalpost, takes the 3. Wales gets ahead 6 points to 3. At the 27th minute, this is when both props one prop from each team gets yellow carded for collapsing the scrum, and then both teams are down to 14 players. And on 2 minutes later, this is where Argentinians number 15, Malia he puts a high ball up himself, makes a perfect timed hit on the ball catcher, the number 10 from Wales team. He was Callum Sheedy, perfectly timed. And I was like, yeah, I was clapping. I was like, yeah, that was beautifully timed kick. And then the referee goes, nah, that's a high shot, head contact, red card. I was like clapping for a good hit, whilst the referee says it was a red card for head collision, high contact. Okay, so apparently the rules has been changed for accidental head collisions. And so Argentina 15, Malia gets off for the rest of the game. 30 minutes in. So for the 50 minutes, Argentina had to play with 13 players. On the 34th minute, and Sanchez made a really nice break around the rocks. There was like Welsh players everywhere. He gets the ball. He just kind of he literally looked like he was dancing. Stepping left, stepping right, stepping left, stepping right. Makes a nice run through the Welsh defense at center field. He gets inside the Welsh half, gets around 30-meter mark. Wales is scrambling for defense and then offside. So another kickable penalty right in the middle, right in center. Sanchez nails this one. Another 3 points back for Argentina, 6 points to 6. So Argentina at this point is looking like they're really tightening up, right? However, at the 38th minute, Argentina really showed some character and stepped up. So there was a penalty, not in a kicking range. They kicked the ball out for a line out. At 38th minute, they kicked the ball out for a line out. They set up a more. The number 2 from Argentina, Montoya, peels off. He almost get himself through. He crashes the ball, gets really close, and really quick ball come out. Matiras, what is it, Matiras? What's his name, number 9? Is it Matiras? I want to get his name correctly. Kubeli, sorry. Kubeli playing for the Western Force. Yeah. Kubeli, he gets the ball out. Really quick ball to the captain, Matera. The captain, Matera, gets the ball to Captain Matera. He was just running hard straight onto the ball, crashes in. He gets almost look, he got held up. He wrestles himself down, places the ball down for the first try for Argentina. That was a titan effort from Argentina, from their 2 captains essentially. Number 2, what's his name? Number 2, Montoya, and former captain Matera. That was just basically grit. Despite having only 14 players on the field, they scores that, in halftime. And they go into the half leading the Wales 13 points to 6, despite having a red card on the field. The penalty count in the first half was really bad for Argentina. It was 9 penalties to 5. So Argentina really was struggling a bit with their discipline in the first half. So second half starts, Argentina really starts to came out swinging. Argentina. I think they probably had some harsh words from their coaches, and they came out. There was a small mistake from Wales in their own half, a knock-on, and it resulted in an Argentina scrum inside the Wales 22. Now the scrum comes off. The quick ball came out of the back of the scrum. Kubeli passed the ball to number 13, Moroni. Moroni gets the ball, right? He runs in the defense. He breaks the defensive line. He gets his hands free, looks to his side. Number 12, Carrera is just running at full speed passing him. He just pops the ball to Carrera, who gets the ball, runs in under the sticks. Try time for Argentina. And that looked really, really, really good for Argentina. Like that whole structure in that set piece was just, really, really clinical, really, really good. And it just really looked like Argentina is going to take the next step, and Wales needs to do something to reply to really like stabilize the situation. And sure enough, Wales managed to pull themselves together. On the 50th minute, Wales gets in their full first try for the half. Wales like put on a lot of pressure against Argentina. There was 2 missed tries for Wales. There was one where they ran all the way to the sideline, tried to jump into the corner. Argentinian players came around, just like held him up, one of the Welsh players, in the corner post, and like denied one of the tries. And then there was another one where just a couple minutes later, where Wales had a full-on penalty advantage. They put in a high ball behind just under the goal post, and one of the Wales players almost caught it, and the ball kind of like bounced awkwardly for everybody, and then he went dead. And eventually, the Wales did get they got another penalty they took a quick tap from that the high ball they kicked, and then a few faces there, like just crash ball. Eventually, the Wales number 5, Roland, he gets a really flat ball from the Wales fly half. I think it was a fly half. Sheedy, just perfectly flat ball. He was about a meter out from the try line when he caught the ball, and he's too big, too strong, big strides, 2 big strides over the line. Try time for Wales. The first try for them for the season. Not for the season, for the game. And then Wales started to follow a lot of small mistakes, and the Argentina really just like after this try was scored, really you can see it, the intensity just dropped. So around the 40, a few minutes later, around 53 minutes, Argentina had a penalty pretty far out, 45 meters in at an angle into the corner, about 15 meters infield, and they opted for a kick. We've seen Sanchez kick this one, but Sanchez, this is a difficult kick for Sanchez, even when he was in form. He's kicked one like this against New Zealand, but historically speaking, this position is not something that Sanchez would be able to kick comfortably. And especially considering last week and coming into this week, Sanchez has not been pinpoint accurate. Everybody's really surprised. Even the commentators were surprised that Argentina opted for the kick here. Sure enough, Sanchez missed the kick. It was almost like they just want to run to the clock and try to minimize damage because of the red card. And it really started to play into their psyche and really slowing the game down. So they missed that one. And at 56th minute, there was 56th minute, Matera was at it again. Looked like he took a dive, like a football dive, and all the commentators were just giving him a drubbing in the commentary. He got the ball. He got the ball on the wing, made a nice little break actually. He was running down the sideline. The fullback comes up to take him out, to tackle him. He chipped the ball forward. Fullback barely grazed him. He just went down and tried to milk a penalty. But the referee didn't buy it. Need to work on the acting skill, mate. Get some acting lessons, mate. Argentina, go to your football team who's about to play Brazil this weekend. Go to them and just ask them tips for diving. That was just, you gotta be a bit more, you gotta work on that, mate. Work on that. So there was another bit of diving from him but that didn't work out. On the 66th minute, there was a Wales almost scores again. There was a let me see what happened here. Yeah, Wales Wales were piling on pressure once again. They almost scores again, and then it was apparently so basically Wales were piling on pressure near the Argentina line. There was an open play out wide, and there was a pass that was a bit too poor. One of the Argentina player tried to intercept it, but didn't even touch the ball. One of the Wales player, the Wales receiver, kind of like overran the ball and knocked it on. So pretty much a free try there. Wales knocked it on, didn't quite get it. However, Wales had an advantage, so they go again. They try to go for they took a quick that was that. So yeah, when that happened, Wales had an offside advantage. So instead of opting for a line out, Wales opted for scrum. So a 5-meter scrum. There was again, they kind of like ran the ball, and Argentina did really well to defend this. They kind of piling on him, and they all just like held him up. They basically tackled the player, one of the Welsh players, and then held him up, turned it into a maul, and then they just sealed the ball off in the maul. Wales couldn't get the ball out. Lost ball, scrumpy Argentina. Now, Wales wasn't going to let Argentina, losing that scrum, Wales wasn't going to let Argentina get out of the trouble so easily. So it was a scrum, 5-minute defensive scrum for Argentina. Ball comes out the back. Argentina number 8 kind of like looked like he failed to pick the ball up, but he didn't knock on. So he struggled with the ball pickup. He kind of like, anyway. He looked like he like struggled with the ball. He gets the ball up. The Welsh players were like all around him. Just swarmed him. He gets tackled. Didn't go anywhere. And then the Wales player flood the breakdown. Turned the ball over. Full on penalty. And Wales gets the ball back. So after that, Wales went for another scrum. I don't feel like Wales had any scrum advantage over the scrums, but I think they just wanted to work on that set piece and I think they just been more comfortable with the scrum than the line out. So there wasn't like a clear advantage with the Welsh scrum. It's just like probably more reliable than the line out for them at this point of the game. Anyway, this time the scrum pays off. The scrum holds out steady. The Wales number 9, Williams, gets the ball. And he like literally just got onto the field, basically. He gets the ball and back to scrum. He fakes running open side. He looks at open side, so all the Argentina guy thinks he's going to pass the ball. He runs over the blind side. Even the commentators were surprised. They're like, surely he's not going to go for the blind side. He runs the blind side on the scrum, and all the Argentinian players were caught off guard. He just runs straight in. Try time for Wales. That was just a beautiful play from him. Quite a good individual performance. Good vision around the field to get that one. Second try for Wales. Now the score is locked up at 20-20. On the 73rd minute, that was 20-20 with 10 minutes to play. On the 33rd minute, Sanchez is off, Miotti is on, and there was, like, you can tell Argentina just really wanted to just hold on to the game, just playing really super safe. There was a penalty given against Wales, pretty much the identical position where Sanchez missed earlier, 40 meters away into the corner at an angle, about 15 meters in from the sideline. So like in the corner. So Miotti comes in for the kick. The commentator's like, oh, Miotti has a 100% success rate in international rugby. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't been watching Super Rugby. His kicking has been like 60%. And especially with an angle like this at 40 out, I think he's kicked it before, but this is a difficult kick for Miotti. I thought Argentina probably should have gone for a line out, considering that they scored basically 2 tries from like set piece from the line out. So I thought they might go for the line out again, but not. They opted for the kick. Miotti misses the conversion. Looked really painful. So Wales will try to come back, and both teams are playing really, really safe. At the 79th minute, there was a lot of like kicking back and forward. And eventually there was eventually Miotti gets the ball at fullback position. He kicks the ball forward, and the chasers for the kickers were offside with 1 minute left on the clock. Luckily, the kickers offside was pretty far. So they were the penalty was given at pretty much identical position as the Miotti's kick from a few minutes earlier, but on the Argentina side for Wales, 40 meters out in the corner, just around the 15-meter line coming in from the sideline, right? 15-meter team, 15 in, 40 out, right? And Wales kicks it, miss. I think he gets a post or something, but anyway, he missed a big sigh of relief for Argentina. Argentina with about the clock at this point is red. Argentina look like they try to run the full field of the full length of the field. They start running the ball, and even the commentators like, surely they're not gonna try to run full length of the field with 14 players. And then they're like, yeah, France try to do that, and it didn't go well for them against Scotland. And in fact, they did that against Australia. That didn't. Anyway, they're like, oh, surely we can see something similar to happen to France. Basically, luckily, Argentina realized their mistake. One of the players gets the ball out, kicked the ball out after about 2 phases, and the whole place, all the Welsh players starts booing. Boo! How dare you end the game? Boo! How dare you? We could have won. Boo! There was booing all around the Millennium Stadium. Sorry, Cardiff. In Cardiff, and that was the end of the game. That was, I guess, was a good game for Wales. Their second team almost beat the Argentina's pretty much full-strength starting team. Argentina has quite a bit of work to do to get themselves in shape for the Rugby Championship that's coming up in about a month and a half. Michael Cheika will be, talking to them about those decisions towards the end of the game. I think the coaches probably would have told them to take the line-out options, especially when they were working so well. And kicking, mate, kicking. Sanchez got to get on the kicking. He's probably just going to be locked up in quarantine, kicking ball over the fence for the next 2 months. I think they've got a couple games coming up next week. But yeah, I think the main thing is that Argentina will have to work on their kick, because that's like a large part of their strategy is to rely on Sanchez for those 3-pointers. If Argentina had landed the 3 points, they would have been ahead over Wales. They would have won this game. Even if Wales lands all their penalties, Argentina will still be ahead with the penalty counts, like the kickable penalties that they were given. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this. I think the Lions is playing Sharks again for the second round. I think it's kind of dumb because I don't want to watch a replay. Although Lions team did put up a pretty much brand new team, except for I think Daly and Van der Merwe are the only 2 players left for the Lions team. So that's, I guess, is a different team playing against the Sharks. But still, I think they should just keep the players safe, keep them isolated, and then play the South Africa A, and then play the most critical, important 3 games, the test matches, instead of trying to risk everyone's health playing these games against, I guess they have like a television, it has to be like a television deal thing that they have to fulfill. But yeah, I thought it was quite dumb, because the last thing you want to do is, try to salvage a minor game for a television deal, and then having to delay or cancel the first game of the test match, right? Which is your big television revenue, big game. You don't want that to be cancelled because players gets infected. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys maybe a bit. I don't know if I'm going to watch the Sharks game, but I'll see you guys later. And cheers.